Welcome to my channel. Do you think men should be allowed to participate in women's sports and change clothes in the locker rooms with women when they're both naked? If you do, you're out of your mind. But before we get into that, I want to thank each and every one of you that has come to my channel. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for commenting on them. Thank you for liking them, for sharing them, and especially thank you if you have subscribed to my channel. I really do appreciate it, and I'm thankful for every one of you, and I'm amazed by the growth that I have. They held a congressional hearing today on some proposed rule changes that the Biden administration has offered for Title IX. As I'm sure you've already figured out, what they're trying to do is alter Title IX so that trans men who claim to be women can participate in women's sports. Needless to say, this is a controversial issue, and it's created quite a furor. Now, I'm going to skip over a lot of this because this is a 2-hour plus video, so we're certainly not going to watch it all. I'll put the link in the description and you can watch it yourself if you want to. But I want you to hear a little bit of what's being said.
I recognize myself for the purpose of making an opening statement. Quite simply, men do not belong in women's sports. Let me say it one more time. Men do not belong in women's sports. The simple fact is that this needs to be said out loud is really kind of a sad reflection of where the other side is on this issue. There should be no debate about this. However, we are here today because the Biden administration is choosing to ignore the truth, and I might add the science. The truth is that by allowing biological males to compete in women's sports
This is the chairwoman of the committee. Obviously, she's a Republican. And this is the ranking minority member.
Athletes in Title IX is important. Participating in
Biden administration is successful.
Chair. It's disappointing to me that although the title of this hearing implies a much needed discussion, we're likely going to be forced to listen to transphobic bigotry. Because actually protecting female athletes in Title IX is important. Participating in sports.
Now I want you to think about what she just said. Protecting women in sports is important. And then she goes on to say how men should be allowed to play in women's sports. It's amazing to me that these people can't even see the cognitive dissonance of their position. It's incredible to me. But, you know, they don't care about cognitive dissonance. They don't care about truth. They don't care about anything except getting their way and forcing changes on our society that will be dramatic and will be life-changing for many people. Now, this is Riley Gaines. If you're not familiar with her, just Google her. She was a champion swimmer, and she was beaten by a male transvestite, or what do you call them? Whatever they are, trans male.
This male swam to a women's national title, beating out the most impressive and accomplished female swimmers in the nation, including Olympians and American record holders. Despite tying down to the 100th with Thomas in the 200 freestyle, I was denied the trophy because the NCAA claimed it was necessary for Thomas to hold the trophy when photos were being taken. It was clear to me, my teammates, and my competitors that they had reduced everything we had worked our entire lives for down to a photo op to validate the feelings and the identity of a male. The committee will take action to stop the Biden administration's illegal and administrative rewrite of Title IX. Of course, there is a place for everyone regardless of gender identity, regardless of sexual orientation, regardless of race or what sports you play. There's a place for everyone to play sports in this country. But unsafe, unfair, and discriminatory practices towards women must stop. Inclusion cannot be prioritized over safety and fairness. And Ranking Member Lee, if my testimony makes me transphobic, then I believe your opening monologue makes you a misogynist. Thank you.
Bam. That was the headline of the hearing. When she said that, that got the attention of a lot of people and it hit the news. But it's interesting to me that the headline is that she called the ranking minority member a misogynist, not that the ranking minority member called her a transphobic bigot. Now, again, the cognitive dissonance of arguing that men should be allowed to participate in women's sports because that's good for women is just mind-boggling. It's you can't possibly intelligently hold that position. You can only hold that position if you ignore the facts, you ignore the science, and you decide, I'm just going to ram this baby through because I want to screw up America. That's the only possibility I can think of. Now, there's two other witnesses that were speaking on pro-Title IX and anti the Biden administration's proposed rules. But this woman's testimony was very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I'm Kim Russell, an ambassador for the Independent Women's Forum. Why am I here? I'm 56 years old. I'm an athlete, a coach, a mother, and a teacher, and a longtime advocate for women and girls. This has been my life and my passion. I played 2 sports at the D1 level that never would have been possible without Title IX. I've been a lacrosse coach for over 27 years. I'm in 3 halls of fame for coaching and contributing to the growth of lacrosse, and there's actually an award in my name. Oberlin College removed me from coaching and offered me an administrative position after I chose to publicly tell my story and refused to be silent or back down about my belief that men, no matter how they self-identify, should not be allowed to compete in women's sports. I joined Oberlin College in 2018 as a head women's lacrosse coach and a wellness instructor. I've always been pro-woman, then and now. Over the course of my coaching career, I've been a mentor to many women and girls.
Now, you need to listen to her entire testimony because it's very compelling. But the last witness was this bozo, and the things she said are just mind-boggling.
Title IX.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. The chair next recognizes Ms. Goss Graves. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairwoman McClain, Ranking Member Lee, and members of the subcommittee for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Fatima Goss Graves, and I'm President and CEO of the National Women's Law Center. The National Women's Law Center was founded the same year that Title IX
So she's going to be
passed
pro-women,
and has worked
right?
to remove barriers for women and girls throughout the course of their lives throughout our founding. And since I have had the great honor to engage in this critical work, including as an advocate for women and girls in school and in sports. In fact, my first Title IX matter was more than 15 years ago, where we worked to successfully secure equal facilities for girls in a school district in Maryland. And over the last 50 years, Title IX has dramatically advanced women and girls' participation in school sports. High school girls have 3 million more opportunities of who is a woman is dangerous and only encourages further discrimination. It invites the sort of gender policing that could subject any woman to
Not pro-women.
accusations of being too masculine or too good or not a real enough woman to participate. The reality is that, like their peers, trans girls and women, they sometimes lose at sports and sometimes they win. And success in school sports depends on a whole range of factors, including how hard you work and coaching and access to really good resources and facilities. And trans students participate in sports for the same reason as their kids, because it is fun, because it creates belonging and community, because it teaches so much about persistence and leadership and discipline, unless they learn to lose gracefully, hopefully. And often they learn to win with dignity, hope.
Whoops. What did she just say? It's time for women to learn to lose gracefully. Now that the men are taking over your sport. This woman is the president of the National Women's Legal Center. You can't even make this stuff up. It's what amazes me is that someone like this, obviously this is a written speech. She sat down, wrote this out, read it to herself, practiced it, thought about it, and not once did the cognitive dissonance of what she was saying ever get through that thick skull. I'm telling you. It's a crazy world we live in. Absolutely bonkers. And the future depends on whether the sane people win or the insane people win. And you better pray the sane ones win, because when insane people run a country, insanity rules supreme. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I hope you are not as angered and as amazed and disgusted and stunned as I am, or maybe more so. Depends on your point of view, I guess. Probably some of you maybe think it's a good idea for men to participate in women's sports and to undress in women's locker rooms in front of women. Crazy, absolutely insane. The fact that anyone could argue for this is mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling. I'm 76 years old. I never in my life could have imagined that we would get to this point in our country where this kind of craziness is considered to be normal. Whatever. Again, I'll put a link to it in the description below. I suggest you at least listen to the women's opening statements, because they are powerful. And get down on your knees and pray for the country tonight, folks, because we are headed down a dark, dark path. As always, I pray that you will be abundant, that you will live a long life, that you'll be healthy, and that God will keep you safe from all harm. I pray that He'll do the same for the people that you love, for every single one of them. And I pray that you'll be anxious for nothing, but in all things, through prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, you'll let your requests be made known to God. And the peace that passes all understanding will keep your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. This is the Vietnam era vet, out.